Happy Friday, North Texas. I'm Scott.
And I'm Alicia.
Today is Friday, May 9th, and we've got a great show on tap today, y'all.
Of course we do. As per commencement weekend tradition, we've got a great grad interview with a student who found a strong sense of community at UNT. And with a new batch of freshly minted alumni, we've got an interview with the chair of the Alumni Association to talk about some big changes and the biggest benefits of staying connected to your UNT fam.
Excited to get to those interviews, Alicia, but first, we have to catch up.
Scotty!
Alicia, you remember Carrie Hargrave?
You mean the UNT alumna who produced the podcast True Texas Crime, The Significant Life of Angela Stevens?
The very same. Listeners will remember I interviewed her in March. Then in April, we mentioned the show was nominated for a Webby, and now...
Go on.
The show won the Webby for Best Limited Run Indie Podcast. Woo woo! We are UNT proud of Carrie for the big win and happy to celebrate her.
That's fantastic news, and there's so much to celebrate right now, Scott.
That's right. It's commencement weekend. We're celebrating 6,500 UNT graduates who have earned their degrees and are ready to soar. You pumped for the grad block party tonight?
Heck yeah, I'm thrilled to see our 2025 grads celebrate all of their accomplishments. What about you?
I'll be there helping at the giveaway table to start the party and then enjoying it with the kiddos. Got to bring them out to enjoy all the free food and music and fun. If you're listening to this on Friday, check the show notes to learn more about the grad block party and come out to celebrate our grads.
And speaking of celebrating grads, our first interview is from our Great Grad series. I had the pleasure of chatting with Richie Magnia this past month about his time at UNT and how he turned his challenges into something meaningful. Richie's not just graduating with a double major in English and media arts. Iconic behavior, really. But he also founded UNT's first ever screenwriting club and helped build creative, safe spaces on campus. Now, he's packing his bags for New York to keep doing what he does best: writing, teaching, and making space for others to thrive. What specifically about poetry is the thing that kind of like grinds your gears in a good way?
Yeah. I don't know, like I like started to write poetry like super young, but not really like seriously. I remember like in like 5th grade we had like a poetry unit and I wrote a poem about basketball, my first poem ever, and I was like, I'm a genius. And I like would read poetry here and there. I read, I think her name is Ellen Hopkins, if I remember the name right. She did a handful of books that were like poetry formatted, but they were all connected to each other, but a lot more explicitly than some other poetry collections. And they were like dark and gritty, and I like really liked the stories in them. And like they were like this big of books because it was poetry, but it was like basically a novel. So I like really liked those. And then when I got to UNT and I started to like be like, okay, what am I going to write? I initially was just going to do fiction because I was like, this is where the money is. Selling novels, selling the rights to novels. That's just what everyone's doing. And I was like, I think that poetry is very like intimate. And it wasn't until like I got to a poetry class that I was like, it doesn't have to be. Like, you don't have to write poetry about yourself. And it really wasn't until like I took Dr. Marks that I was like, oh my God, poetry is like heaven on earth. And I just like really enjoyed like, again, like the intention that went into it. He asked the most like obscure questions that like you didn't even think about it as you were reading it and writing it. And like all of the poems that he showed us were like breathtaking. And I just like, he changed like my entire mind in terms of how much I like poetry, but also just like how I thought about writing in general and how I like kind of view the world as a writer. So it just kind of like happened. I just fell in love with it, you know.
You have so much emotion towards it. I love it.
I love it so much. It's like I get jitters when I talk about it. It's great.
Ah, that's awesome. That's how I feel like everyone should like feel about their maybe not career, because you know not everybody does what they love for their career, but like for their passions. Like it's refreshing to see that.
Yeah.
So
I love it so much. Yeah.
Oh. So out of all the clubs that you found / are a part of and you manage, which one has been like the most impactful or meaningful to you?
Probably the screenwriting club. I mean, like, I founded it. I wanted that space so bad that I was like, I'm gonna jump through all of these hoops to get it done. I think I proved a lot to myself by being able to do it. And I was not much of like a public speaker until I was like, well, now I have to. Like the person that I founded it with was like even worse than I was. So I was like, well, one of us has to do it. I guess it's me. So now I have like a lot more confidence whenever I'm just like speaking publicly, whenever I'm like, again, like talking about writing. Like it really made me like remember, okay, you want to teach. Here's your opportunity to see if it would like work. And it works because I'm just standing in front of a bunch of people and talking about the craft and discussing all of these topics that I'm passionate about. And I've made a lot of friends from it. I've like become a better writer because of it. There's only 4, 5 media like writing classes in media writing. So I was like, this is it. And like one of them was online, so I was like, this isn't even like a good workshop environment. 2 of them were online that I took, so I was like, I'm not even getting an actual like workshop experience. So like being able to have that space and just like lead it myself was like great, and I proved a lot to myself. And I'm passing it on, which is, I hope it does well.
Yeah, it seems like you created your own classes, if you will,
Yeah.
for it because you stepped up and was like, I need more. So I'm gonna like provide for myself in a way.
Yeah, for sure.
That's really cool. Not a lot of people do that. Not a lot of people have the guts to do that. So that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. The person I started with was like also a double major, and we were just like talking about how we don't have those spaces unless we're in the classes. And even like in the media writing classes, like you do not get that many chances. Like I'm in like advanced screenwriting, and we get 2 workshop days, and it's like your act 1 and act 2 of a feature, and that's it. And like for club, we have 6 in the entire semester. So I'm like, I have just so many more opportunities to just be like, here's my ideas. What does everyone think? And I'm very happy with like the amount of people that I've seen come in and then also make friends with people and like, I don't know, create that kind of safe space for writers who are like quiet, you know.
Yeah. That takes a lot of initiative. Very impressive. You mentioned you had a mountain of things stacked against you when asked why it was important to get your degree. What was exactly stacked against you?
Growing up, I just like didn't have a very good relationship with my parents. Was very poor and from a very small town in like South Texas, and I knew that I didn't want to stay there. And I didn't really have that much help in terms of thinking about my future. I did all of my college research by myself. I did my applications by myself. I took care of all of the paperwork that I needed to on my own until I was like, okay, I need FAFSA help, and like that was like the extent of it. And I knew that I was going to have to find a place that I felt comfortable. So I mentioned that I went to look at like TWU. So I like so that they were having their like summer preview. Okay, I was like, I will drive the 6 hours to come and see the campus. And then I came back whenever they had their fall preview, and then I went to see UNT. So I did like multiple trips to Dallas just to like see the area and see how I would do. Yeah, the main thing was like the family stuff of just like not really having any support in terms of where I want to go. My family didn't like that I was moving so far away. My mom really wanted me to go to San Antonio or like somewhere closer, like San Marcos or something. But I knew that for me was important to get a good distance away to really like allow myself to breathe and become whatever person I needed to.
Like, what was like the thing that got you here? Like, yeah, elaborate on that if you can.
Yeah, because I mentioned that I was seeing TWU and I was like, oh, I need another excuse for school. So I was like, I'll go see UNT. I had a friend that came here. I was like, I'll just look at it for fun. I'm not gonna go here, but I'll just look at it. And then I had a really good tour guide, which like her and I are still like really good friends. the atmosphere was really great. There was so many people like just walking around that I was like, okay, everyone looks actually different here and cool, and like interesting just to be around. And the tour guide that I had, like, she mentioned that she was doing like the dual degree thing, where you can work master at the same time. So I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. So like just like the everything that she was saying, that I was like, okay, it seems like UNT is like actively, they want you to succeed, was really important to me, to feel like, you know, the institution that I was going to go to was like on my side.
I loved hearing how passionate Richie is, and it's always so great to hear about students coming to campus and finding their Mean Green family.
Yeah, it was so great getting to know him and share his story. Check the show notes to read more about Richie and the rest of our Spring 2025 Great Grads. Scotty, now that we've got thousands of fresh-faced alumni entering the world, I hear you have some info about how they can stay connected to UNT.
That's right. I spoke to UNT Alumni Association Chair Ernest Martinez about some recent changes and the biggest benefits of being an Alumni Association member. Full disclosure, he's actually a family friend. He and his wife are good friends with my in-laws, so I've known him for years, and that's why you'll hear me call him Ernie instead of Ernest in the interview. All right, Ernie, so thank you so much for joining us for the podcast today. Appreciate you taking the time out of your day.
Thanks, Scott. I appreciate you inviting me to spend some time with you.
So for starters, let's just start with your time as a student at UNT. Tell me what that was like when you came to UNT and what you studied, and just your experience as a student.
So I would say that my experience as a student was definitely different than probably most. I classify myself as a non-traditional student, a late bloomer is the term I like to use. I really had a career in retail and did that for about 15 years with Sam's Club and Best Buy. And at some point, I decided that I really wanted to move into the world of HR. So I went back to school in my mid 40s and graduated from UNT at the age of 49 years old. I got my Bachelor of Applied Arts and Science with specialties in HR, behavior analysis, and alternative dispute resolution. So it definitely was a different experience. I took some of my coursework online. But what I did also find was that it was really fun to go into a classroom where I was arguably the oldest one in the room, right, aside from the professor. And so it definitely gave me a different perspective. It allowed me to maybe challenge some things that I was being taught, but then also to really appreciate the engagement of the students with the professor. So I really had a great experience at North Texas.
Nice. And what year did you say you graduated?
I graduated in 2011.
Okay. And did you, like, immediately after graduation, did you get involved with the Alumni Association?
You know, we did because around the same time, Monica, my wife of 35 years, who's also an alum, um, we became empty nesters. Our last child graduated in 2010, and so about that time, we realized that we really needed to engage in something other than just going to the movies and eating dinner,
Yeah.
every weekend. And so we started really connecting with the alumni networking events, and a lot of those at the time were being held in Denton. And so we started really in probably 2011, 2012, attending networking events. And it was just almost from the moment that we began, attending these events, we really started to build some really strong relationships with folks and quickly realized that, when you become part of the UNT Alumni Association and you become part of these networking events, you really build a family around that. And so we really really enjoyed it. We've been engaged since that point, and it's kind of blossomed. That's actually how I joined the board. Is one of the board members, Juliet Patterson, We had seen her at so many different events, and one day she just approached me and asked a question like, "Hey, have you ever thought about, joining the Alumni Association Board of Directors?" And at the time, I'd never even given it a thought.
Hmm.
And so she told me a little bit more about it, and just through that conversation, I think that she nominated me to join the board, and I met with a few people, and lo and behold, I found myself joining the board, and that was probably in 2015 or 16.
Okay. And now, so what's your role now? Do I have it right at it's chair of the executive committee?
Yeah, I'm actually the chair of the UNT Alumni Association, which also makes me the chair of the executive committee for the Alumni Association. Um, and I've been in that position since September of 2024, and it's a 2-year term.
Okay.
So I'll be in that role until September, really until the end of August 2026. So I'm really in my first year.
Okay. And so what are some of the things you do in that role as the chair?
Well, there's quite a bit. Obviously, they want presents. We all want presents at, as many events as we can. So, we'll, be a part of the ring ceremony. We'll do some of the commencement speeches. But our role as an association is really to reinforce and support the strategic vision that President Keller has for the university. And so, I help lead that the board of directors in ensuring that, the actions that we're taking and the strategies that we're moving towards are really in support of the vision.
Nice.
So just to give you a few ideas of some of the things that we're working on currently. One part, there's three different points that we really feel like we can support the vision that President Keller has for the university. One of them is really advancing student success, and so in that, uh, the goal is to ensure that students graduate, and that when they graduate, they kind of immediately jump into a career.
Hmm.
And so our goal is to find ways to help alum understand how they can support that mission through mentoring, internships, job opportunities, and really kind of sharing their own success stories. In many cases, telling your story to either a current student or an upcoming grad, a lot of times is very impactful on them because it really helps them visualize like, okay, I understand now why I'm here and kind of where I could be a few years from today. Another
Nice.
way that we do that is, we really are rolling out a North Texas network, and it's UNT's new online community for alumni and students. And, the goal there is to provide a platform to alum and to current students for them to be able to connect with the community. And it'll allow alumni to really kind of get involved and get engaged with the Alumni Association, which in turn then allows them to become part of the community. So the second thing that we're really working towards is just strengthening UNT's research and innovation impact. UNT is a tier 1 research institution. We've been on the rise for many, many years, and we've been classified as such for a few years now. And so we're really working towards helping alumni understand what that means to the university, what that means to them, but also trying to help them understand how can their philanthropy, how can corporate partnerships and advocacy further support our mission of really being recognized. It's one thing to have the kind of the certification of being a tier 1 research institution, but creating awareness around that, which then allows us to continue our research, is a big part of building upon that. So we want to continue building out the research aspect of this, and because really, in a large way, some of the work that we're doing is going to support the region, the state, as well as the country. And then the last bullet point that we really spend some time on is really just building stronger connections. As we continue to expand, we continue to begin expanding beyond Denton. And so you'll hear about our Frisco campus, online learning and regional events, but we continue to do things to create awareness around those expansions so that people really know that it doesn't matter where you are. You can connect with your fellow alums. You can be part of this community, and we're asking you to engage with us. And so this allows people to be ambassadors to us. And we have a lot of great things going on at the University of North Texas, and our mission is to really, find ways to reach alum, find ways to engage alum, and find ways to just keep them connected to the university so that they can help us build the vision.
Nice. So I want to go back a little bit. You mentioned the North Texas Network. I know that's part of, there are a couple big changes happening with the Alumni Association, and launching the North Texas Network is a big part of that. And it kind of speaks to what you just mentioned in that last bullet point is, really building that connection and helping alumni stay connected. How do you think this will help that? I know, we've talked in the past about how it could be sometimes hard to find events that are happening because it's not all aggregated kind of in one place. This kind of help with that, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Everybody lives and breathes to a large degree on their phones these days. And what we have been able to, what we've had in the past has really kind of been more website based. So if you were on a desktop or a laptop, you could probably, navigate to something. Being on your phone, it really requires a tremendous ease of use. And so the North Texas Network is an app that is available to alum that's really going to be a one-stop shop. It's going to allow them to connect to other alums in their area. Like if I wanted to connect to people here in Dallas, I could actually look for people in Dallas to connect to. I can communicate with them through a chat feature. I can look at a calendar of events and see what's happening either in Dallas or in Denton or in Houston. And so it gives them an opportunity to really open up an app, which of course we've all grown accustomed to this, right? Opening an app and finding what we're looking for. And it really allows them an opportunity to do just that. And in the past, we haven't had that. And so when you don't have it, then it's really much more difficult to engage with the community. And so we're really, really excited about what this is going to bring to us.
And then another big change that's coming up is the new inclusive membership model. This is a shift from the kind of fees-based membership model. I don't know if that's the right word for it. A paid membership model, and now it's an inclusive membership model. Can you talk about what that change means and kind of the reasoning behind it?
Absolutely. Yes. And it really was a paid membership model. That's typically the model that was out there, for many, many years with many, many universities and their alumni associations. What we're looking for is a more inclusive model. And so we're moving away from a paid membership model to the inclusive membership model. And what it's going to ensure is really just that every UNT graduate has access to events, networking, and benefits, with no fee involved there, right? And so sometimes, especially when somebody's a new graduate, asking them to purchase, let's say, a membership to an association can also be challenging for them. And so we want to really start talking about this in a way that says, you know what, if you're a UNT student and you're a UNT graduate, you're part of a community automatically. And the goal is to really to get a much more engaged alumni base that can help us strengthen the reputation of the university, potentially create lifelong ambassadors, and also it's a good way to really connect alumni to the association, to the community, so that they can help support things like scholarships and student success. So we're really, really excited about it. It's been something that we've been planning for a couple of years. And I know that it's even further going to support the vision that President Keller has of just making sure that students are engaged, throughout their lifetime, not just their lifetime at the university, but throughout their lifetime.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, it seems like something that should really help with, especially newer graduates being able to join.
Yeah, and it is hard, right? But what you want to try and remind them of, and we want to talk about this while they're students too. A lot of times
Yeah.
we're reaching out to people and they've already graduated. It might be years after that, somebody's reaching out on an email. What we want to do is we want to really build a culture that once you begin attending classes at the University of North Texas, you know about becoming a member, you know that you're already a member, and that it's something that you hear about and you participate in throughout your campus years,
Hmm.
because then it really further supports you doing it afterwards. I've seen students blossom, and it right before my eyes. Became part of the Student Alumni Association as a student. They're currently finished a bachelor's degree, moving into a master's program, have been in leadership positions, have spoken to hundreds of people at conferences, and just watching what it can build within a student. That, in some cases I've had conversations with folks and I'll say, is this where you thought you would be 4 years later, after they just finished a speech in front of 300 people, and they say, not at all. I would never have expected to be where I am today, and I could not have done that without being part of the Alumni Association. And that's very gratifying, and that is exactly what we want to accomplish with every one of them.
All right. So obviously, you've been involved with the Alumni Association for a long time, now chair of the Alumni Association. What do you see as the biggest benefit of being involved with the Alumni Association?
Well, several things. I could tell you right now that, being part of something bigger than yourself, is very, very beneficial to folks, right? You have a
Hmm.
community, you have networking opportunities, you have mentoring opportunities. When I think about, let's say students, so I participate heavily with students in the G. Brent Ryan College of Business, because I'm an HR professional, right? I engage with the HR department and some of the HR
Yeah.
professors. uh, I mentor some of those students. So you have mentoring opportunities to actually talk to people that are in your field that you can actually connect with. You also have opportunities to internships, to job opportunities. I mean, even today, right now, I currently employ two UNT grads, and I just hired another UNT grad yesterday.
Nice.
So when you think about things like that, that's not what you think about when you connect these dots of like, oh, okay, I should become part of this alumni association. This is real world stuff where you can actually see the benefits of it and you can live the benefits of it. So becoming part of this community, becoming part of mentoring, providing opportunities to students, and even students that have already graduated, those opportunities are there. I believe that part of our responsibility is to connect to each other and support each other in any way that we can. So maybe somebody's been in their career for 10 years and now they're out on the open market looking for a new opportunity. I want people to be able to then say, you know what, I need to reach out to my alumni association peers, my fellow alum that I'm already connected to, and see what they can do to help support me in finding that new role. And I see this real world every day. I live this real world every day. And I think this is what we can offer to alum. And this is an amazing reason to get engaged.
That's great. All right. So now we've got this new inclusive membership model. So everybody's, included. What's somebody's first step to get involved with the Alumni Association?
Well, I would say that the first step would really be join the North Texas network, right? Connect to your fellow alum, engage in the platform, look for events and opportunities to attend. There's a lot of good ways to get connected using that platform. Like I said, it'll be available here in the next couple of months. Support UNT Day of Giving, right? Find ways to
Mhm.
give back to students and resources. Consider mentoring. Consider mentoring for the university. It doesn't matter what college you graduated from within the university. reach out to that college and ask about mentoring opportunities, and then make sure and follow and share on social media with us. Right, we want to make sure that our presence is known. We're the fourth largest university in the state of Texas with over 46,000 students, so we want you to, like our post, share our post, talk about your experience at the University of North Texas. But the more you do that, the more you're involved, the more you're engaged, and the more you're connected. So those are just a few of the ways that we would suggest that you get involved with the Alumni Association and that you further support the university.
All right, Ernie, thank you again for joining us today. Any closing thoughts you want to send people out with?
So thanks for asking, Scott. I will tell you that UNT is at an exciting inflection point, and alum have a unique opportunity to shape its future. So, we would love for you to engage with us. We'd love for you to connect with us. And we want you to be part of the momentum, whether that's through engagement, mentorship, philanthropy, or just simply staying connected. We need you to become part of the momentum. And our goal is to transform our university to the best in the state and to be the leader in the state. And we can't do that without your help. So I'd encourage you to just join the team, be part of the momentum.
Very nice. Can we get a Go Mean Green?
Go Mean Green.
Dude, I cannot wait to join the North Texas Network and start enjoying all the benefits of the Alumni Association.
Yeah, it's a great way to keep up with UNT and what other alums are doing. Check the show notes for links to the North Texas Network and the Alumni Association website.
Okay, it is Q&A time. What are we talking about today, Scotty?
Well, we're mixing it up today, Alicia. Normally we answer a question and our student reporter Anthony goes out and gets some students to answer the question too. However, this will be Anthony's last episode with us because, like so many others, he's celebrating his graduation this weekend. So we wanted to send him off properly by letting listeners get to know him a little bit better before he flies the nest. So let's start off with just your name and what your major was at UNT.
Well, my name is Anthony Simone, and my major was journalism with a concentration in broadcasting.
And when you came to UNT, what were you what did you have in mind for a career? What was your goal?
I knew I wanted to do something within the lines of journalism. I just didn't know what exactly. I didn't have a specific beat or anything like that. But first couple of years of college was very much me trying to figure out, okay, I know what I want to do, but what are some ways that I can, make myself more qualified once graduation rolls around. And graduation is now here, so and it flew by too at the blink of an eye. You don't even realize it until you're about to walk the stage. But I had an idea of what I wanted to do, and now I'm more confident in what I want to do. It's just more like finding that opportunity.
Yeah,
it's a big thing.
So what's your goal now that you've been through the process and you've gotten the degree? What's your career goal now?
Well, right now I think I would definitely go the route of becoming an editor someday, but then again, life can change. New opportunities may come up that I might not be aware of now that maybe I'll want to do later on in the future. I'm not going to hold myself to just one lane, I guess. I want to try to make myself as available as possible when it comes to new opportunities. So, but if I'm going to stay in the journalism world, I want to take the editor route. So
okay.
That's what I want to do.
Nice. All right. So 4 years at UNT, what was your favorite course?
Favorite course? I my all-day broadcasting class with Stephen Ackerman this semester was really cool. As well as this semester, my capstone, I think I had an awesome group. We did an awesome story about advanced air mobility, which is coming here to DFW. And besides that, I might have to think about this one a little bit, because I know there were classes that I had throughout my time here that I enjoyed. I believe his name was Mark Willis. He's over at Mayborn. He had a podcasting class.
Nice.
Ironically. And it was cool. It was 5 guys total, and the class would be more conversational. Sometimes we'd go in the studio in Chilton Hall and just talk about random stuff while we're recording a podcast.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool. But yeah, there's probably a couple more I'd have to think of. But
yeah. Is there a faculty or staff member, professor that has like really made a big impact on you?
I don't know about made an impact in my personal life, to be honest, but I think ones who have definitely helped me, especially this last semester, I would give a shout out to Stephen Ackerman over at Mayborn. Randy Loftus was also an awesome professor as well to have, and the advisors too. I can't remember his name when I first got here. I think his name was Justin. I don't even know if he's still here. But then also Alexandra McCrae, you were awesome. Thanks for helping me out. But personal impact, I don't know. It's just more of like they definitely made an effort while I was here to help me with some things whenever I needed help. So.
Yeah, nice. Favorite spot on campus to just go like chill between classes?
The Sycamore Library. I like how it's almost like a maze.
Yeah.
You kind of, if you want to hide away for a little bit, that's a perfect place to go. Find a little corner. Hope that nobody comes. Besides that, I liked hanging out at Willis too. I don't know. I'd walk anytime in between class. If I was sitting down for too long, I would probably just walk around all over campus.
Yeah.
I'd go into random buildings, see what's up in there.
Yeah.
Look at the posters, and then just walk to another building while I'm killing time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I like Sycamore Library. That was a pretty cool spot.
It's a good one. What do you think you're going to take with you as like your best UNT memory?
Well, definitely working here at UBSC. It's given me a lot of opportunities to be on the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Do all that stuff. So I'm very grateful for that. I was thinking yesterday, and whenever I was getting out of the military in 2021, I had applied to a few other colleges besides UNT. I got denied from every single one of them, but UNT was the only one that showed me grace during that time, and it was very unpredictable of what my next steps were going to be after getting out of the military. So I think just that moment when I got the acceptance letter from UNT, I just thought to myself, this is the one place that wants to give me a shot compared to these other colleges that didn't. So I want to make the most out of it.
Yeah.
But I've had a lot of cool, small memories, I guess. Last summer, while I was here at UNT, I was able to go do the Beast Games, which was another awesome opportunity.
Yeah.
But yeah, honestly, now that I'm thinking about my time here, I feel like it flew by. There's like so many memories I have to go back and look through. But I'm just glad UNT was the place that essentially chose me.
Yeah. And so it's finals week right now. Are you done with all your finals?
No, I have one more assignment due at 11:59 tonight, and then I have an exam tomorrow, but it's open book. So
All right.
I'm essentially
Just
done,
about there. Yeah.
But I need to get through the rest.
All right. And then this will be going out on Fridays, the day of the grad block party. You going to the grad block party?
I'll most likely be there, yes.
Nice.
By most likely, yeah, I'll be there.
All right. I think that'll be good. You want to give him a go mean green?
Go Mean Green.
There we
Remember,
go.
if I can do it, you can too.
Well, now that you've heard from Anthony, we want to hear from you. Tell us about your time at UNT by emailing us at podcast@unt.edu or calling us at 940-565-4341.
And don't forget to tell a friend about the show, share it on social media, or leave us a rating and review wherever you listen. Until next time, we hope you have a happy Friday, North Texas.
And go Mean Green.
Happy Friday, North Texas is a production of the University of North Texas. Today's show was produced and edited by Scott Brown with original reporting by Scott Brown and Alicia Zartman. For more information, visit unt.edu/podcast.
I could just move my lazy body. My watch went off. Did you hear that? I got it. I'm kidding. I'm kidding about being kidding.
So fast.
That's how I felt like this whole podcast went.
You're right on my heels.